This is Mac Bowen, IllinoisMatmen.com, and I have here with me Oak Park River Forest High School head coach Paul Collins. Okay, looking back from the beginning of the season, your thoughts on where this team is right now, going into the regionals, kind of like the beginning of the end now.
Right. I think, well, you know, it's funny we're talking about as coaches, but, you know, this is one of the few times where we finally had our full lineup at a competition. And I think, you know, we have the 2 weeks off in between our invitational and the regional, which is huge for our guys. Our guys were very hungry and very excited to be in this tournament and get the postseason started. And we talk a lot about, you know, the next 4 weeks doing these things together for each other and really pushing ourselves and pushing each other. And I think one thing that we've seen is these guys really start coming together. You know, today and hopefully moving forward, these guys are sitting at each other's matches. They're cheering each other on. Like, they all want themselves to succeed, but they want their brothers, they want their teammates to succeed just as well. And I think it's nice for us to finally have our full crew 100% healthy at the weights they need to be at. And obviously it's the right time of the year. And now that focus is really just kind of pushing forward and not getting them too caught up in the postseason, but we know that you know the theme of the day is to advance. Win your matches, advance to the next week. Win your matches, advance to the next week. And wrestle as hard as you can. And some things haven't changed from the beginning of the year in terms of the pacing and things that we want out of guys. But I think a lot of these guys have had to grow, and some of them had to learn the hard way.
Now there's a lot of talent in this lineup, nationally ranked guys, state placers, state champs. But I'd like your thoughts on one guy in particular, 170-pounder, Rolian Sturkey. Totally under the radar, stepped into the lineup last year, and is actually having a pretty good season this year. Your thoughts on him?
Absolutely. I mean, last year he was actually a 60-pounder and qualified for state at 182. You know, so we knew he was special, and he just didn't have a spot last year. You know, this year 170 was his spot to have from the get-go. And you know, I think everyone takes a look at Roland, and he's a specimen. You know, and he is an athlete. Now we're trying to get him to really buy into pushing himself and wrestling hard for 6 minutes. We've seen him, but sometimes he kind of takes himself out of his own game. And but you know, he's wrestled against Krasowski now twice, and his defense is very good when he's on point. But we'd like to see him fire off some more attacks. You know, he's won both those matches in overtime, but you know, you don't want to leave it up to overtime every time. You know, like you leave it in the ref's hands or whatever it may be, it may not end up your way. So we're really trying to get him to push himself and score points. We think he's a kid that can stand in and compete for a state championship, but he's got to buy into it on the mat. You know, he's doing a great job working hard in the room, and we're seeing a lot of those things translate from the room to the mat. And you know, he'll have a nice match today in the finals against Thurman from Proviso West, and we'll see whether or not he's ready to go. It's mostly mental with a lot of these guys, but he has the physical capability. He doesn't get tired. He's a strong kid. He's an explosive kid. So if he just lets it go, he's going to achieve some very great things in the sport.
He was an all-conference safety for the football team.
Safety, yep. And he's a guy that I think this spring is going to start getting some MAC offers and kind of looked at football-wise. But he's already got a couple of D1 coaches looking at him for wrestling too. You know, and this is a kid who's going to have the best of both worlds. His grades are where they need to be. We'll see what he gets on the ACT. I mean, he's a kid who's a D1 athlete in football or in wrestling. And I think, you know, people don't know him because he wasn't at Fargo last year. You know, he qualified for state but didn't do much. But he's a guy that we are 100% confident in, that when he's ready to go, I mean, he's up there with some of the better guys we've had in our program.
All right, well, thank you very much, Coach, and good luck today and going forward.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.